Could your city survive losing 300,000 jobs over a period of time and maintain the same tax base? Absolutely not. Because you see, in the manufacturing sector, just like in the ag sector, that ag dollar will turn 11 times on Main Street. In the ag sector, it does. In the manufacturing sector, it does. It affects sales. It affects marketing. It affects the supply line. It affects schools. It affects everything. The deterioration of the city will take place as the tax base erodes. So if you're going to have a national policy that outsourcing jobs to foreign countries because you don't want to pay people a living wage, this is what you're going to get, America. This is just the tipping point if we keep going in the direction we're going. Now, of course, Rick Snyder, the CEO governor, you know what he's doing? He's punishing public employees who work their entire life to get the pension, and now they may not get it. I guarantee you, a lot of people are going to be hurting over this. The city government of Detroit did not outsource these jobs overseas.
This is 60 years of decline. This has been kicking the can down the road for 60 years. In my perspective on it, enough is enough. I think there needs to be more accountability in government. And part of the issue here is let's stand up and deal with this tragic situation and take care of the citizens.
So, he has no responsibility whatsoever in any of this. It's the last 60 years. Well, Mr. Snyder, why in the hell did you run for governor? Why did you tell people before the election that you were going to do something about Detroit? Let me bring it to you this way, folks. When you don't have a plan, that means you don't have any guts. Snyder has had no plan for the last 3 years for the city of Detroit, and now he is blaming everything. Well, this has been 60 years in the making. I didn't hear that on the campaign trail. Now, I have shown you this chart a lot on the Ed Show. When union membership goes down, so do middle-class wages over time. That's the 60 years I'm talking about, Governor. Republicans attacking unions, middle-class workers going with the policy of free trade, and, of course, leaving a great American city, which was the pinnacle of manufacturing in America, just shove them down the toilet, and don't worry, they're just a bunch of black folks anyway. This is your America. Meanwhile, instead of saving Detroit, Snyder wants to bulldoze. He wants to bulldoze it. He's treating the people of Detroit, Michigan like they're just, numbers on a balance sheet. This guy thinks that demolishing a city is reinventing it, and he is dead wrong. So tonight, okay, enough bitching. I'm going to give the governor of Michigan the Ed plan. I'm going to save Detroit here in the next few minutes. And you know how I'm going to do it? I'm going to do it with federal dollars. You know why? Because we did it to Baghdad. We did it in Kandahar. We did some nation building. We got to do some nation building right here. And the first city on the map is going to be Detroit. First, no city will survive unless citizens feel safe. I'm in charge. I'm Ed Schultz. Instead of slashing public services, Detroit is going to get thousands more police officers and firefighters. And you know who's going to pay for it? The American taxpayers. Because we are going to reinvigorate the spirit in America that we can get it done. The second thing Ruler Schultz is going to do, Detroit needs to make a major investment in education. Every child needs an opportunity to advance. And the only way to do this is through total commitment to education. Don't shut down schools. Open them back up. Is it going to take money? Yeah, it is. Third, I have a Republican idea here. This is kind of my bipartisan thing here. Should Detroit do this? Should they give any company who relocates to the city a tax-exempt status for the next 10 years? Yes. The city knows how to make things. It's in the culture. Manufacturing's in its DNA. The people of Detroit will be able to reinvent manufacturing for the 21st century. Now, it's going to take billions of dollars to do this, to make this happen. The federal government needs to help. We've done it before. We can do it again. When did we do it, Ed? Well, I'll tell you, since you're asking at home. We bailed out Wall Street after criminal, unethical, and deregulated practices trashed our economy. We saved the automobile industry when they needed help. And it was a loan. It wasn't a bailout. They're paying it back and the Treasury's making money. And now America's automobile industry is where? It's better than ever. You mean we can actually do this? Detroit built this country. And I think Congress needs to step up and cut this city and this state a check and make it a model so every American knows that it can be done. But instead, what the Republicans are giving us is nothing but surrender. That's their policy. Every politician who puts their hand on the Bible and takes the oath of office has a duty to this city and to manufacturing in this country. That means you Republicans. You love to run around and wave the flag and tell us how you support the troops. How about supporting American workers? The GOP loves to talk about patriotism and just how much they love America. I think it's time Republicans step up and prove to us that they don't have their head in the sand and they actually do love this country and they care about all people. Now, at the beginning of this, I said that there's a lot of misinformation. Let me just say this about cronyism. If you want to get detailed, you can go find cronyism in any city government in this country. And this idea that, well, it's been under Democratic rule and Democratic city leaders for years, that's true. That is very true. That's why there were good wages, there were good pensions, there were good health care programs, there were things that people had earned, and city fathers knew that they had earned it. But it was the outside external pressures of outsourcing and free trade brought on by Republicans and some Democrats that put Detroit at the pinnacle of this problem in America. It is not the local city government as the fault of what is happening in Detroit. It is an American policy that stopped believing in workers. It is an American policy that said, well, manufacturing is really not that important. And Detroit is the first city to pay the price. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think. Tonight's question. Are Republicans happy to see Detroit go bankrupt? Text A for yes, text B for no to 67622. You can always go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We'll bring you the results later on in the show. Let me just say this. Detroit is the result of Republican policy when you don't believe in workers, when you don't want to invest in communities, and when you start picking and choosing neighborhoods like Rahm Emanuel is doing in Chicago. I offer to you tonight that this is, God dang it, it can't be the beginning, but I'm afraid it is.